Let's get you more detail on one of our leading stories. The mayor of Tshwane, Randall Williams, says his resignation will take effect from the end of the month. MMC of Finance, Peter Sutton, will take his place until a new mayor has been elected by council. Williams resigned today after coming under fire over the city's adverse audit outcome findings, with coalition parties demanding accountability. The mayor says he's stepping down to avoid the same kind of instability in council that's plagued Johannesburg and Ekurhuleni. Govan Whittles is in Pretoria at the Tshwane Council, standing by to speak to the EFF. Well, in fact, on the channel on Friday, we spoke to Peter Sutton, and when asked on that Auditor General report in terms of consequences, he said the city's own investigations are at an advanced stage. And so, Govan, did he jump before he could be pushed?
It seems likely that the DA Mayor Randall Williams has jumped before he could be pushed. We're coming to you live from the Tshwane House here in Pretoria, where another DA Mayor has fallen. This time it's not a political bombshell. In fact, it was to be expected, Dudu, not only from the opposition councillors in the Tshwane Council, but also members of the Democratic Alliance's multi-party coalition that they lead here in the city. It was said to be one of the most stable coalitions in the three metros in Gauteng. Over the recent weeks, we've seen changes come to Johannesburg and Ekurhuleni, and now that same change has come to the city of Tshwane, except this time the mayor has resigned. Let's discuss this. We'll talk to the EFF in a moment. Let's begin with the African Christian Democratic Party, because the ACDP is a part of that coalition that the Democratic Alliance was leading here in the city. And joining me is the Tshwane chair for the ACDP, Mr. Ronald Morake. Mr. Morake, thank you so much for your time. That audit outcome and the adverse finding by the Auditor General always seemed to be the thing that would cause the mayor to leave his position. There were calls from within the multi-party coalition for accountability after that outcome. Are you surprised by the resignation of Randall Williams?
I cannot say I'm really surprised. It is the honorable thing to do for the mayor to resign.
What do you think this will cause in terms of the multi-party coalition?
I think his resignation will bring stability to the coalition. It cannot be that we are found wanting with the damning Auditor General's report and then we only holding officials to account. It cannot be. The man in the seat knows what he was getting himself into that seat, and then obviously he has to take the fall.
We're now in the realm of speculating what will happen after the departure of Randall Williams, but before we get there, we'd like to reflect on the kind of mayor that he was. The ACDP, not part of the mayoral committee itself, holding a Section 179 chairperson's position in the council, but the mayor had been criticized by other coalition partners for how he was conducting himself in the leadership. What's the ACDP's position on how he presided over his council?
It's a matter of your views, how you view things politically, and if you see a smaller party as a smaller party or as a partner. Under our coalition in Tshwane, we did not see ourselves as much of a partner, but it was that the bigger party obviously will call the shots. We tried, and we will always try to bring stability to the coalition in that regard, but we believe if you abuse your powers as a bigger brother in the coalition, that is the end result.
When it comes to the audit outcome, we saw the sacked chief financial officer being blamed for the adverse finding. When it comes to the unsolicited bid with Kratos, the mayor insisted that there was no wrongdoing on his part there. Do you think the mayor should shoulder responsibility for some of those things?
Look, this is happening now for the second time. Yes, the Kratos deal, and now this time around, and it was just about time that I don't want to say the DA, but the DA has to take responsibility of the mayor they provided for us, whether it be the failure of the DA in handling things. But right now, I think under the circumstance, the right thing happened.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ronald Morake. He's the chairperson for Tshwane in the Tshwane Council, holding a Section 179 chairperson's position. Let's bring in Mr. Obakeng Ramabodu. He is the EFF Tshwane chairperson. The EFF was preparing to vote Randall Williams out. A motion of no confidence had been tabled. It wasn't scheduled yet, and it does seem like it's a case of him jumping before he could be pushed out.
No, thank you very much. Firstly, let's welcome the resignation of Mr. Williams. This is a victory for the people of Tshwane, the residents, the workers, the security guards who are still waiting for being insourced, the Mamelodi floods victims who are yet to be relocated. Maybe something will happen. They will have a leader who will know that it's his responsibility to make sure that there are services in Tshwane. Well, on the issue of the motion, I think Randall Williams was aware that the motion was going to be on the secret ballot. There were many people, even in the DA, even Action SA, who were not happy about Randall Williams. But this is not a Randall Williams problem. This is a DA problem. Remember, DA has been running this city for the past 7 years. They have changed 4 mayors. They are now attempting to have a 5th mayor, which must be stopped, because how long must they be given a chance when they can't deliver? For 7 years, they've changed 4 mayors with Soli, with Mokhalapa, with the acting mayor by the name of Tau, who went to Action SA, and Randall Williams. How long must they govern this city? They can't govern it. You can go to the townships, you can go to all these areas in Tshwane. They can't do it. They are failing, and they must be taken out.
Peter Sutton, the finance MMC, will take over as the acting mayor from the 28th of February until a new mayor can be elected. It does raise the question of whether the EFF will be looking to govern in the capital city now that your party's taken a decision of entering government. Are there any discussions that have started?
Oh, there are not discussions yet, but we are open for any discussions. Remember, the only thing that must happen with this city, all of us, we must be committed to make sure that we save the finances of this city. You saw the damning report of the AG report. This have never happened in the history of local government, where we are speaking about irregular expenditure of 10 billion. How can you govern a city with such misconduct and lack of good finances? So Sutton was the MMC for finance. And there's nothing that he can bring differently from Randall Williams. They are from the same pot. They are Madam's children. They are children of Madam Gogo Zille. They are from the same pot. There's nothing that they can bring differently. We must, as the parties here in council, vote with our conscience and make sure that we put someone who will stand for the workers of this city. The workers are still waiting for their increment. People of Mamelodi are still waiting for a relocation. People are landless. People of Tshwane are still waiting for an MMC of safety who will make sure that they are safe. The killings in Soshanguve and Mamelodi, you saw someone was killed right at the gate of the police station in Mamelodi. This is the kind of the city that we are living at. And we don't have even CCTVs. But the coalition government must take responsibility. I saw Maruti Mobabalemo. They must take responsibility, because when they pray, they must also know that the people of Tshwane are looking forward to have leadership that will elect people who are not corrupt. They've elected Randall. They must take responsibility. I'm sure they will still elect a DA mayor, because according to DA, ACDP, COPE, and other parties are not fit to lead this city. They are the only ones who are entitled to lead this city. And I'm sure that the coalition government will look into that. But from our side, we are open to have a discussion. The discussion that must happen is to save this city. This city is in a mess. We saw the finances of this city are out there. We need men and women who are competent, men and women who wants to save this city from this mess that is yet. So we can discuss with anyone. We are not like Mashaba, who say you want to work with anyone. For the sake of saving the city of Tshwane, we are open to work with anyone.
Thank you so much. That's Obakeng Ramabodu. He is the Tshwane EFF chairperson, speaking to us here at Tshwane House. We'll speak to the Democratic Alliance a little bit later, but for now, instability has arrived here in the capital city. Peter Sutton, due to be the acting mayor after Randall Williams steps down at the end of this month, and then the intense negotiations are likely to start once again as the council is required to elect a new mayor in a fresh sitting. For now, though, it's back to you.
Govan Whittles, thank you very much for that report.